In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build the ultimate complex AI receptionist for dental clinics. In this 2.5+ hours step-by-step guide, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build a real AI receptionist that can book appointments, cancel, reschedule, send SMSs, transfer calls, answer any common FAQs, look up customer and patient information in a database, and then it'll even go ahead and automatically update everything after the call. We're going to be using Retell AI's conversational agent builder, which allows us to build highly complex, highly rigid conversational agents that are deployable in real-world production environments. And by the end of this video, I'm going to be giving away all the tools, prompts, workflows completely for free. So make sure to go ahead and stick around to the end. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, and before we actually start building this system for a dental clinic, we need to understand the overall system architecture and some of the tools involved and how they interact with each other. So first of all, let's run over the tools that we're going to be using inside this video to build this system. So first of all, we have four main tools here. We have Cal.com, which is going to be the primary scheduling software that's going to be handling all of the bookings, such as booking appointments, checking availability, rescheduling as well. And then from here, we have N8N, which is going to be used as a customer database using their brand new N8N tables function. It's going to be facilitating the booking connection in between Retell and Cal.com, so booking appointments, rescheduling, canceling, checking availability. And then it's also going to be handling the logic to send SMSs and handle any errors as well. And then we have Retell AI, which is going to be the voice AI platform. It's going to be handling the conversational flow. It's going to be structuring the conversational logic. So we're going to be using Retell AI's conversational flow feature to create this agent. And then it's going to be facilitating the automations between Twilio, N8N, and Cal.com, and the conversational features between the user and the automation platform. And then from here, it's also going to be using the knowledge base for the dental clinics. And finally, we have Twilio, which is the platform that allows us to have a voice number and connect it to Retell so people can call it and then also send SMSs. So these are going to be all of the tools that we are using for this agent. And then if we come over here, this is just a little system architect overview. We're going to be constantly referring to this to essentially build out the whole system. So this is just a Figma conversational flowchart that we have built. So let me run you through it. Let's get into it. So of course, a new patient calls, the voice agent's going to pick up. And essentially we have a few scenarios. So down the left side here, if the customer needs to speak to a human manager or, a doctor or a dentist or whatever it may be, we've kind of classified them into two categories, right? Emergency and then about billing, or it needs to speak to a human. So those are the two categories it's going to go down to. And if it does classify within that category, it's going to transfer to a static number so they can speak to someone. And then from here, we have a knowledge base. So if a customer asks a question about the services, it's going to search a knowledge base and then it's going to answer the question as well. And then from here, this is going to be our booking part. So this is going to be handling new bookings, canceling and rescheduling, and then also checks availability within a calendar. So if it is a new or existing patient, it's then going to say, if it is an existing, it's going to ask for the phone number. This should say patient right here. New or existing customer. So I'll just change that. So if it's a new existing customer, it's going to ask for the phone number. And the reason why we're doing this is because a lot of pre-existing customers may be calling in. So we can use the N8N database table feature to search up customer information so we can leave it and use it in the conversation down the road. And then if it is a new customer, it's just going to proceed with the booking intent. And then from there, after the agent has, classified whether it's a new or existing customer, it's then going to go down the booking intent route. So it's essentially classifying the booking intent of the customer. So we have three routes here. We have book appointment, reschedule, and then cancel appointment as well. So if it is a book appointment, it's going to collect the type of service and then collect the preferred date and time. It's then going to send that query via API, and we're going to be using cal.com to check if it is available. Now, if they are an existing customer, we already know the information, so we're just going to simply confirm it to use for the booking. But if they're a new customer, it's then going to collect new information. And then from here, we have it a book an appointment. So from there, once the time is available, it's then going to book it inside cal.com. It's then going to send an SMS within N8N. And after the call is ended, it's then going to send the transcript to N8N. And then from there, N8N is able to update the customer database. So for example, let's say this customer had a previous appointment. It's able to update the database with that new appointment and the intent of the call so it can use it for other conversations as well. And this is all going to be happening automatically. Then from here, we have reschedule. So again, pretty self-explanatory, collecting and confirming the name and the email, collecting the rescheduled date and time. So the current date and time of the appointment and the new date and time of the appointment. And then from there, it's going to reschedule the appointment, send a confirmation message, and then do the exact same thing down the bottom. And then finally, our last path is going to be canceling the appointment. So confirming the name and email, confirming the cancel time, and then it's going to cancel the appointment and then send a confirmation SMS and email, and then end the call and then do the exact same thing. So that's just essentially a system overview. Again, we're going to be referring to this as we build out everything in Retell. So without further ado, let's jump into Retell and let's build a system. Okay, and we are in Retell AI. This is going to be the platform. We're going to be building this voice agent. So let's come into the dashboard right here. Let's do create agent, and it's going to be voice agent. Now we're going to be using the conversational flow agent feature within inside Retell AI, and we're going to be starting from a completely blank canvas, building absolutely everything out from scratch. So this is just going to be our blank canvas that we have in now. And essentially how this section works is we're able to structure conversations using different nodes. And this essentially serves as a purpose to create complex agents that have a lot of conversational pathways and interact with a lot of different points within the customer. So let's begin. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is a global prompt. Now the global prompt essentially serves as an overall prompt defining how the agent should interact with the customer across all of the different nodes and the entire conversation. So we have a global prompt at the moment, and I'm just going to be dragging this from a prompt I've already pre-built, but I'm going to be running you through step by step. And by the way, if you do want this prompt, come down to the link in the description, join my free resource hub. We've got almost over 2,000 members learning voice AI completely for free. So if you want all of the prompts, the workflows, everything that I've used in this video, make sure to join that resource hub. Without further ado, let's get into the global prompt. So first of all, we have the identity and role. So you're in a professional friendly appointment scheduling assistant for business name. So we're just going to be putting in the business name. We're going to be making it up. So we'll just do Bright Smiles Dental right here. Your primary purpose is to help customers schedule, modify, and manage appointments while providing helpful information about our services. That's going to be the overall identity and role. And then from here, we're going to be defining the overall tools that they have. So again, we've got a few tools. We've got checking availability, we've got booking an appointment, we've got scheduling new appointments, we've got canceling new appointments, and then rescheduling appointments as well, and then transferring. So those are the available tools that is available to the agent. Now, if you're wondering what these little hashtag things are and all these little asterisks, this essentially means markdown format. Again, we're putting this into the LLM, and imagine these words as kind of bold headers and these as dot points and highlighted letters. So again, this just enhances the conversational ability of the agent by providing a more accurate prompt. And then from here, we have the tonality and communication style right here. So if we come up, this is going to be the tonality and the communication style. Again, a global prompt throughout the entire conversation. So warm and friendly, speak naturally like a helping friend. Professional, maintain a business appropriate language. Conversational, use contractions. And then efficient, respect the customer's time, be clear and concise. And then be natural, handle interruptions gracefully, and give customers time to respond. And from here, we can provide some examples as well to the agent. So examples of conversations or little bits of conversational snippets to use throughout the conversation. So we've got examples, right? Let me check that for you real quick. So again, we're just providing some examples to the agent on how to conduct the conversation as well. And then we have conversational flow. So again, just more overall global prompt engineering. So again, opening, greet them warmly, ask how you can help during, use the customer's name naturally. So again, just basic customer service stuff. And then from here, we have a few guardrails. So this is very important, especially within dental clinics and dental practices, because some patients may be sharing a lot of sensitive information. So there's a few ways we can do that. Obviously, we can prompt the agent within the guardrail section as well. And then we can also modify some settings within inside Retell to make it HIPAA compliance. But obviously for this video, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to be adding in some guardrails within inside the global prompt. So we have, you can share business hours, location, services, appointment availability, general policies, and how to prepare for appointments. You cannot share other customers' information about appointments, specific patient details or customer records, medical advice or diagnosis or financial payment details, which is going to be transferred to the billing department, which is what I'll get into later, right? And then finally, we have the last bit of the prompt, which is going to be critical rules. So always confirm details by repeating back. Tell the customers they'll get an SMS confirmation and ask if there's anything else. Never make up any information or share other customers' infos. Never be rude, dismissive, or guess at medical advice or policies. Error handling, if something goes wrong, just say something like, give me a moment. I'll have a team member call you back within 30 minutes. And then here's the overall goal of the agent. So this is going to be our global prompt right here. Let's go ahead and click save. And we're going to be using rigid mode, of course. So rigid mode essentially means the agent is going to follow all the rigid pathways that we have set out as well. The LLM we're just going to be using as GPT-4, and we're not going to be customizing the temperature for now. And then here we can attach a knowledge base, speech settings, etc. So you come down to the speech settings, you can control everything. I'm not going to be going too in depth because we're going to be customizing this agent per conversational node. But without that, you can add in pronunciations if you want. You can add in certain words that might be applicable to dental clinics or dental practices. You also have call settings as well. We can make different customizability options on the call settings. So again, you can put the call settings or call maximum duration time to whatever you'd like. But again, you can customize the agent in this global prompt how you would do it in a normal feature inside Retell. But we're not going to be going too in depth right here. So this is going to be our global settings right here. So now let's come back to the agent at the moment. So we're going to be going into the welcome node. Now this first welcome node is essentially going to be triaging everything and all of the issues. So we come back into the agent right here, and we can see now we can start to build out this agent. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to build out this first custom knowledge base right here. So if we come back, and we're actually going to add in a transition. So this transition is going to be right here. We're going to do if the customer, wants to ask any questions about the business. The user wants to ask questions about the... So we're going to put in all of these transition nodes. Essentially, within Retell, we have a welcome node right here. So as soon as the call begins, we're going to have a static sentence or message with inside Retell. So for example, let's put, hello, this is like maybe Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you? Bright Smiles Dental. Awesome. So again, this is just going to be the same static message every time someone calls the phone. This is going to be the initial greeting when someone calls it, right? So based on their response, our agent is then going to appropriately route to the transition phase. So for example, at this transition, we have users wants to ask questions about the business. So if we come back to here, this is going to be our custom menu or custom knowledge base that we have at the moment. So if we come back to Retell, we can add in a conversational node right here, and you can see that we can add a node knowledge base for this agent right here. So we can see user wants to ask any questions about the business. So if we come into the transition node, and you can actually drag this little thing right here into this, and you can put that as the conversation. So now it's going to essentially route to this conversational node. So let's just change this right here inside the thing, and we'll just put knowledge base agent. Awesome. So now in the prompt, we have essentially now we can prompt this specific agent to handle customer questions about the knowledge base. We need a prompt for this knowledge base agent specifically. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in an AI agent prompt specifically for a knowledge base agent. So again, we're going to be following generally the same structure that we have before. Let's just expand this in here. So again, very, very simple. It's just a prompt for a knowledge base agent. So we've got the role, you're a helpful information assistant for Bright Smiles Dental. Answer any questions about services, hours, locations, etc. We've got a little guide on actually how to retrieve information. So always refer to the knowledge base if you, if the customer's asked any questions. If it's not in the knowledge base, never guess. We've got the tone, we've got what to do once someone asks a question. So answer the FAQs about services, location, hours, etc. So again, I'm not going to go too in depth. And then also something important in here is we have, after answering any questions, push the customer to go ahead and book an appointment, right? Because that's the main goal of the agent, and that's what's going to drive revenue and obviously growth in sales for the business is booking an appointment. So I've also got that in there, and then later down in the transitions, we can then accommodate to that logic as well. We've also got guardrails, which is very important. So it can share business information, but it cannot share customer information and personal and sensitive medical information. Then we've got rules and the overall goal as well. And of course, I'll be providing all of these prompts to you as well, right? Okay, now let's actually go into the agent right here. We're going to need to add in a node knowledge base, is what you can see right here. So we need to add a new knowledge base in here. And we're going to be using this obviously within Google Sheets. Of course, if you do want this is all made up, by the way, obviously, but I'm just showing an example of how you can obviously create a knowledge base if you're doing this for a business. So you can just download it from here. What you're going to need to do is just download it from a PDF. And then we need to come back into here, and we need to add in a new knowledge base, documents, upload files, and then we just need to add everything within here. Awesome. And then this will just be dental dental knowledge base. So go ahead and click save right there, and we'll just wait until that is complete, and then it'll actually go ahead and show up within Retell so we can put it in here. So okay, so it is actually gone ahead and upload. So as you can see right there, uploaded. So if we come back into Retell, we'll come down into Node Knowledge Base, and we can see it should be right there. So Dental Knowledge Base, go ahead and add that. So now our agent has everything to go ahead and answer any questions. So we're going to come out, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add in a few transitions. So first of all, up here, let's add in a transition to say user has had all of their questions answered, and they no longer require any further assistance. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in a ending, which is just going to end the call. So we'll just route that to this end call function. So this is essentially accommodating for the use case if the user just wanted to ask any questions about the business. And then right here, also in the transitions, we're going to add, right, user states that they want to schedule a appointment. So again, let's say if they've answered a question and then the user wants to schedule an appointment, we also need to accommodate for that need. Then also we're going to add in the fact if they want to transfer for whatever reason, right? If, we'll just say user wants to transfer to a human, talk to staff, or have questions about billing information. And we're going to route these transitions and edge cases later to the nodes once we build them, but we might as well just have this knowledge base agent already built right here. Okay, awesome. So this is all done, right? So now we come back to our Figma flowchart, and this will answer everything. So another thing that's really important with inside, obviously, Retell, and once we're doing this, is always to accommodate for the different types of scenarios, because I believe you're going to need to have the transitions mapped, because if you don't have them mapped, then the agent can't really go back and it's going to get stuck. Hence why it's in rigid mode right here. But this essentially is a very good way onto like how to structurally, design the agent. So now that we have got that, now let's design the transfer function. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to add in another transition to our overall node right here. And we're just going to go ahead and edit this one. And we'll say user wants to, talk about user wants to speak about their billing information, or their personal medical information. Now, obviously, because this is a dental clinic, right, we can't really have that agent discuss some of their personal information or the billing information. It doesn't really have those capabilities, to be fair. So we're going to add in that transition as well. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to just put this down so we can fit in everything. I'll just add the end call function right there. And then we are going to add in a call transfer node right here. So we're just going to put this transfer node, we're going to link it up to this. And then at the moment, now we can come into this transfer node, we can customize it. So again, we'll have speak during execution off, static destination. Again, I'll just move my camera down here. It's probably a bit easier. Static destination. So again, this is going to be the static number to your agent. We'll just leave this blank for now. So obviously, because when I'm going to be testing the agent, I'm going to be using my number and it can't really transfer to another number. So we'll just leave it blank for now, but this will work very, very fine. And the type is going to be a cold transfer now. As you can see, it differentiates. The cold transfer is the agent will transfer without a debrief. And then a warm transfer is a debrief, right? Display caller ID, it'll just be the user's number. And then that's essentially it, right? And then we can add in different transitions or transfer fails. So up the back, maybe we want to add in another conversational node off the back of this just to say the transfer has failed, right? So we can come back to here and we'll just add a static message and we'll say the dental office is not available at the moment. If you need assistance with, we'll just say if you need assistance with booking a appointment or have any questions. I'm here to help. And then we'll add in a few transitions again. You can see how we can really structurally make this agent sound. So we can see, let's go ahead and add in another transition right here. And we'll just do if the user has questions about the business. And then we can map everything back here. Business. And then we can map everything back to this kind of global prompt right here. Go link that back. And then if the user wants to book an appointment, then it's going to route to a book an appointment node. Book a appointment. So again, that's really the only two conversational abilities the agent, could be designed for. User doesn't need any more help. Does not need any more help. And then we can just add in another end call function right here. Just going to be that. Okay. Awesome. So now all that we have to do is that is going to search, obviously account for if the transfer call is failed right there. And then it's just going to say that static message and then obviously account to see if the user wants to book any appointments while they're at it. But obviously if they don't and they just want to transfer, it'll just go ahead and end the call. So that's going to be that node right here. And it's going to be linking back to this. Just make that so you can see it easier. I'll put that there. Okay. Now, and then we're also going to add another transition for a transfer, which is going to be if they want to speak, specifically to maybe a doctor or a human. So if we come back to here, we can see if it is an emergency. Sorry. So we've sorted out this path. Now we're going to go down an emergency. So for example, depending on your dental clinic, if you are building this for, they might have different numbers for different purposes. So now let's route if the customer has an emergency, right? If it's some emergency with their tooth or something, it's going to route to that agent. So right here, we'll put in user has a urgent emergency. User has an emergency. We'll just put that right there, right? And then we can essentially just duplicate this node, come over, and we will put this right here. We'll just map it right here. And then obviously it's going to be the exact same thing. We're going to put in a number for the agent to transfer if it is an emergency, right? And then from here, really, we'll put in the another transitions right here. If the call has actually failed, then we can just transfer and we'll just end the call, obviously because it is an emergency. But you can just literally route it to anything maybe. It can transfer to another number. But in this case, if the transfer has failed, it might just end call. Or alternatively, you could just have another conversational node. Actually, that would probably be better. Let's do another conversational node and we'll say, we can't transfer you at the moment, but we have notified our staff, and they will call you back immediately. Again, this would just be something that we could have after, let's say the customer has an emergency, and we just need to say a static message right here to the customer just to let them know that the transfer was unsuccessful immediately. Okay, awesome. So that's just obviously going to be that. And then we'll just add on a end call right here node. So again, you can see how we can structurally design these prompts. User confirms. And then we can just add in another end call node. I'm going to end the call. Awesome. Okay, so that has sorted out all of our stuff for transferring calls. So now the agent can transfer a call if it has an emergency. It could transfer to a specific number, maybe to the emergency department, or if they want to speak to someone about their billing or about their personal information, the agent can go ahead and do that now. So if we come back, that will essentially sort out this part right here and also this part right here with inside the transferring part. Now what we need to do is we need to facilitate the booking process. So obviously we're going to be using cal.com, in this example, and we're going to be using N8N as well. But let's actually build out the core logic for our appointment booking process inside here. So we just zoom out right here. We're going to add in a transition. So if the user wants to obviously book an appointment, we're going to come down to here. So if book a appointment, reschedule a appointment, cancel an appointment, or like check availability for an appointment. Right? And then we're going to have it route to another conversational node. And the reason why we're going to have this is because we also need to link up these different conversational pathways to then go back to that conversational node. So for example, let's say we have an agent, it's answered any questions and they want to book a new appointment. Then, we can come down here and it can obviously go into that node. And then also while we do that, just as I remembered, right, we see right here the user wants to transfer to a human. So now we can kind of zoom out and we can transfer right here. So again, maybe that's about billing information. So we can come up and then we can put it directly in here, which is the, so that's the billing information. So we can see how it routed back. And then if you want, you can add in another transition. Maybe it's an emergency, but usually they'll state that within the welcome node at the start right here. So that's going to be that mapped out. I know it looks a little messy, but you can see how everything runs. And then from here, we're going to add in another conversational node. Now for this conversational node, we're going to need an overall system prompt to handle everything, because this node is going to be facilitating and moving around the booking intent. So if we come back here, we can see that that is going to be the booking intent node, right? But before we do that, obviously we need to design the new or existing customer node. So let's come back. Sorry, that's not. All right, well, let's come back to here, and then we're going to add in another conversational node, right? So we'll just name these as well as we move on. So that's going to be, we'll just name this transfer one, and we'll just put failed. I think I'm just naming everything. Transfer 2. And then we'll also put in here, we will do, that is for the emergency. So emergency transfer. And then we can add in also within here, we'll add in like billing transfer, billing / information transfer. Okay, awesome. And then those end call nodes are fine. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to add in this conversational node to essentially ask if they're new or existing patient. The reason why we do this is because it's obviously easier to search up their customer information in a database rather than having to ask the information again and again and again. Obviously, this is a better customer experience. If we can just search it up, most of the time they're going to be an existing patient. So we need to have a conversational node to do that before we go ahead and facilitate the booking process. So with that being said, that we can now map this, obviously, it's a little bit fidgety, but we can now map this to a new or existing customer. New or existing customer. Okay, and then we're just going to add a static sentence. So we can say, we can just say, awesome. We'll just say, are you a new or existing? We'll just say like maybe thanks for looking to book an appointment or something like this. Again, you get the idea. Thanks. Looking to book a appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer? Right there. Okay. Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer? So then we're going to add in our transitions as well. If the user, a new customer, Then we're going to route it down to obviously define the intent type. And then we're going to add another prompt if the user is a existing customer as well. If the user is a existing. Okay, so that is going to be all the transition types now. So now we can actually go ahead and define the node. So if we come back here, we can see if it is an existing customer, we're going to need it to ask for their phone number. So let's add in another conversational node. Let's kind of move this up out of the way so we can see everything. So let's move it further up because this is going to be quite a long conversational pathway in here. So I think it's zoomed out. Okay. Okay, awesome. So we're going to add in another conversational node right here. And it's going to be if the user is an existing customer. We're going to map this in here. And then we're going to do ask for phone number. And then we'll just say, okay. We'll just say thank you for being a existing patient with us. May I please have your phone number to look up your information. Okay, awesome. Ask the phone number. And then we can do user provides their phone number. And then what we're going to do from here is then we're going to search up the customer information. Now we're going to be sending that phone number to N8N via a webhook to then search up that customer information within inside a database. So we'll do user provides phone number right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add in, if you can see, obviously down the side, we're going to add in a function, which is obviously known as a tool or a function. So we come in here. Now we're going to add a function, and it's going to be a custom function. Now we're going to name this look up. We'll just do look up patient or whatever. Patient. We'll just look up customer probably. Doesn't really matter what this name is. The description is going to be to look up in the database right here. And then API endpoint, this is going to be where N8N comes into play. So if we come over to N8N, you want to obviously create a new workflow inside N8N at the moment. And then we're going to add a first step. So this is obviously going to be our webhook. Start the webhook. And then it's going to be post right here, right? And then we're just going to do production URL at the moment. We're going to get that. And then we're going to come back to Retell and we're going to put in the production URL. And then from here, we're going to need some parameters. So all we really need is we're just going to need the customer's phone number. So phone number. And then the description is going to be the phone number that the customer provided. Easy. Okay, now let's go ahead and click save and then add right here. So now it's going to add up this tool and we can go ahead and do that transition. So if we come back, now the customer's phone number is retrieved and now it's going to search up that customer information. And then we can see right here, we can add up obviously our transitions as well to then account for the results. So make sure, wait for results. So wait for the function to finish before transitioning to the next node. Make sure that's on. And then we can add in a few transitions in here. So we can add in another transition and we'll say if the customer's, obviously maybe the customer's phone number is not on the database. So if the customer's phone number is not in the database, then we can essentially have the agent route to the new patient's obviously node in conversational node because their number is not in the database, right? And then we can do if the customer's phone number is in the database, it will then obviously do that. The database, it will also then go down, as we can see, to then booking the intent. So now that that is built out, we're actually going to need to put in some data so we can build out the customer database to look up for everything, right? So with that being said, we'll do that as well. And then we'll also build out the new customer workflow. So let's come back into the conversation node right here. And then we'll name this booking type. So this is essentially going to be querying the type of booking. And obviously the reason why we do this is it can obviously route back. So this is going to be the booking type. And then this node is going to be specifically, obviously, deciding the booking intent. So if it's a book an appointment, if it's a reschedule, or if it's a cancel appointment. Okay, and before we actually go ahead and test out the lookup customer information and build that workflow, let's come into this booking type, and we're just going to make it a static sentence. And essentially the whole purpose of this booking type is to define the type of booking we have in here. So first of all, we'll just say, what type of appointment were you looking to book? We can just add in a question. Were you looking to book a new appointment? Reschedule a existing one, or cancel a appointment. So again, we just need the appointment type, and then it's going to route down to the particular agent, obviously. Just name this reschedule right there. So again, that is essentially going to be defining the appointment type. That should be right. Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be defining the appointment type right here. If it is a new customer as well. Now, for all the transitions, let's add in the different types of appointments. So we'll add user wants to book a new appointment. And then we'll add the same for canceling and rescheduling. User wants to cancel. And then the same thing for rescheduling. User wants to reschedule a appointment. Okay, awesome. So those are going to be all of our intent types right there. And then at the moment, we are also going to do that. So now that we have that up, let's actually go ahead and build up the customer lookup information with inside N8N. Okay, now let's put some test data in the agent right now. So let's come over, let's test our agent. Hey, Emily, I'd just like to book a new appointment, please. I am a existing customer. Yeah, it's 0413 472 077. Okay, awesome. So you can see we got a webhook response right here. So now let's come over, wait for it to load, and copy to editor. So now we can actually go ahead and build a database right here. So just go ahead and click save, and then we'll name it look up customer information. Now, in this example, I'm going to be using N8N tables. So I'll just quickly show you what obviously that looks like. We can see in our data tables, this is what our dental database would look like. So we can see you can have all your customers, patients, everything within inside N8N, and it's going to be looking to see if these customers exist. So up here, we've got our name, number, email, and this is going to be the database that you need to create. So obviously create this database within here, and let's come back over to this workflow and we can build it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to search up a database, and it's going to be a recommended, and we're going to do get rows. Then from there, we're going to select our data list, which is dental database. And then the conditions is going to be the column number. And then we'll come back to our webhook in here, and we're going to put the phone number in there. And then limit 1, and we'll just execute it right now so we can get some data. So we can see that is the patient data. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a if statement, which essentially is going to see if the customer patient information exists, then it's going to respond back to the customer and essentially say it exists. And then if it doesn't exist, it'll say to the customer, look, your information isn't in the database. And then we can continue our conversation from this transition node up here. So now let's go ahead and map in the email. We'll say if this exists, and then we'll also do if the number exists as well right here. Okay, so let's execute it. And obviously that is true, right? And now let's come back and let's add a response webhook in here. Now we're going to do custom JSON. Let's open this up, flick it to expression. And then we're going to be putting in our JSON variable so the agent now has it to use to like within the conversation. So at the moment, as you can see, we've already got it formatted right here. So we'll do customer email, and then the value is obviously going to be this email we have right here. And that will be the email right there. And then we'll just paste this over so we know we have the correct formatting. Awesome. Space right there. And then we'll put our comma in there because that's correct JSON format. And then we'll just do customer number and delete this little bit right here. And then do number right there. So with that being said, now let's execute the workflow and we can see it should return green. Awesome. So we know that works. Now let's add in another webhook response, and this will be if the customer's information doesn't exist. And we'll just add a response code, which will just be 400, which means unsuccessful. So now that we have everything in, let's go ahead and click save. And now this automation will run and we'll look up the customer database via N8N tables and then return it from there. So now that that is built, we can add in some transitions right here. So if the customer's phone number is not in the database, let's add in another conversational node right here. And we can say customer number not found. And we'll just add a static sentence and we'll say it looks like your number is not found within the database. We'll say it looks like your information is not found. We'll say that. And we'll just say, however, we can proceed with creating a new booking so we can get those details down. Awesome. Looks like your information is not found in the database. However, we can proceed to create a new booking so we can get those details down. Okay, awesome. And then we'll add a transition and we'll just do if the user agrees. And then we can add our transition and we can route it back to then define the customer type. So let's put that in there. If the customer's phone number is not in the database, we'll route to that. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to come back and we'll add another conversational node, and this is going to be the booking type. So again, the agent needs to define the type of booking type, and then it's going to route down to the certain conversation. So we will put right here, we will do booking type 1. Now we're going to have two of these for two different scenarios up here. So if the customer is if the customer's number is not found, then we'll do it for 1. And then if the customer's number is found for the obviously new customer, we'll do it for this one. So we'll design this one first. So if the customer is a new customer, we'll say, awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? And then we'll just say, perhaps we'll say, is it a new booking? Reschedule Scheduling a existing booking or canceling a booking. Again, this is going to be the booking type if the customer is a new customer. So obviously we don't have that information. And then we're going to duplicate this as well. And we're going to obviously come back down to here and we're going to name this 2, right? So if the customer at the moment, right, if their number is not found, then we can just simply go back to this booking conversation right here. So we'll do if the customer's number is in the database, we will come to here. And then if it's not, we're going to route all the way up to here, right? So essentially, obviously, the reason why we need to do this, if the customer's number is in the database, then it will go to this one and it will say, awesome, your details are in the database. And then we'll just put full stop. What type of appointment we're looking to get none today. So again, it's just going to say the same thing, but the only difference is the sentence at the start, right? So make sure this is all static up the top. Make sure this is all static. Okay. Yep. Okay. Awesome. So now that that is all good to go, we can continue to build out all of the types of appointments with inside Retell. So let's just delete this one. And then we're going to add in all the transition types because we can just duplicate it. So we'll just put the user wants to book a new appointment. And then we'll do the same thing for canceling and rescheduling. Cancel a... Because then what we're going to do is it's going to route to all of the different nodes for that type of booking, right? And then we'll do user wants to reschedule. Up here. Okay, then we're going to duplicate this. And then all that we're going to change is awesome. Your details are in the database, right? Whatever you want to put there for whatever result our customer tool confirms. So let's obviously route this all the way there. Okay, awesome. So now we have all these built out and we can now build all the other conversational nodes. So there's going to be 3 conversational nodes that we're going to be having inside this Retell, obviously dashboard and agent. And it's going to be a new booking. It's going to be a canceling an existing booking and then also rescheduling a existing booking. So, okay, and before we actually start building all the workflows and all the API endpoints, I want to make a few things clear in terms of obviously how we're building everything. Now, we're going to be using cal.com to handle all of the scheduling logic and all the systems, but it's going to be very, very similar for the businesses that you are integrating it with, because we are going to be using their API documentation. Essentially, this API documentation is a public documentation that allows us to get access to their softwares. So in terms of when you are building this for business owners and businesses, you would simply need to get either a public API access like we have here with cal.com or a private API access. So it's going to be very, very similar. There may be some differences within the information you need to collect within the API documentation to make bookings, to search up information, etc. But again, it's going to be very similar, and I have designed these workflows and this video as kind of to make it as close as possible to those business owners, because obviously we can't create workflows, we can't create everything that is specific to the business owner that you're looking to implement it in, etc. So this is going to, replicate as much as possible, but obviously it's going to be very, very similar when you are integrating within all of the API endpoints. You're going to be using API documentation. So without further ado, I just want to make that known in this little section. Make sure to follow along, because from here out, it's going to get quite complex. We're going to be building out upwards of 4 to 5 workflows. And then we're also going to be building out lots of conversational nodes and functions in here. So before we get into it, I want to reiterate the calendar system we're going to be using, which is going to be cal.com. Now, if you are building this for a business or you want to use another calendar system, make sure to refer to the API documentation, which is what I'm doing right here for cal.com, because it's relatively going to be the same. They might need some extra information for the booking types, etc. But I'm going to be using cal.com in this example. And cal.com is obviously a scheduling software that allows us to check availability, book an appointments, reschedule, cancel, etc. So this is the software we're going to be using. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So as I said before, we're going to be adding in 3 of these conversational nodes or sub agents, and each sub agent is able to handle different parts of the conversation. So for example, we're going to have a sub agent for a new booking, and then we're going to have a sub agent for a cancellation, and then we're going to have a sub agent that is looking to reschedule for existing bookings. So let's just go ahead and name this. Um, let's just name this new booking agent at the moment. And of course, we're going to need it to give it a prompt. Now, I've already pre-designed a prompt because it would just take way too long to write out everything, but I'm going to run you through it step by step so you can understand. So if we come up to the top here, it's relatively the same as the prompts you are seeing with a lot of other voice agents. But what's special about this one is this is a prompt specifically for a new booking. So it's going to check availability and then book appointments as well. So we can see we've got the role, very, very similar to our other prompts. You are Rachel, a receptionist for Bright Smiles Dental. You handle new appointment bookings for patients calling in to schedule dental appointments. Got the personality, friendly, approachable, and knowledgeable. You maintain professionalism while keeping interactions light and helpful. And then we have the current time, which is going to be a dynamic variable. Now, make sure in the current time you change it to your time zone. For example, if you're from America, Los Angeles, change it to the country you're from and then the city you're from as well. And this is going to pre-populate the current time so the agent knows the current time in which it is speaking to the customer to. Then from here, we have existing patient information. So this is, we need to let the AI agent know that if the patient is existing, to make sure we already use their provided information. We don't want to ask them again because that's just going to slow down the booking process. And it's a lot easier if we can just use the information we already have to make the booking. So again, we've got the tone, upbeat, fast-paced, and clear. You keep the conversation moving without sounding rushed. Then we have the goal. So your goals is to collect all required booking information from the patient, check availability and book appointments following the scheduling logic, and then ensure every caller feels acknowledged, supported, and taken care of. And then this is where the agent is going to conduct the scheduling logic. Now, we have a few steps in order to obviously check available times. If those times are not available, then we're going to suggest more slots and then finally book the appointment. So this is the scheduling logic of our agent. So step 1 is collect the name. If not already provided, if you already know their name, skip to step 2. If you don't have their name, simply ask, can I get your name? And then confirm it. Then step 3 is we're going to be asking what appointment type they want. So is it a cleaning? Is it a specific concern? Is it an implant? Is it a checkup? What type of appointment is it? Once it's asked that, it's then going to collect the preferred date and time. So it's going to say what day and time would work best for you. So you can see it's very rigid prompting because we only need to prompt for this specific part of the conversation. We don't need an overall prompt. So it's literally just asking a question, getting an answer, and collecting it. So after it's got the preferred date, it'll then go down to check the availability. Now, it's very important to prompt the agent right here. We need to say you must not run the check availability tool without listening to their name. Then you must check availability and proceed. Should be and proceed, okay? And then step 4 is check availability. So use the cal availability tool. Now, we're going to be adding in a function down here a little bit later, and I'm going to be showing you how to attach it, how to connect it to N8N, how to do all that stuff, because it's probably a little bit different than what you're used to with the standard single prompt agent. Right, and then from there, we're going to be using the send cal tool, so we can attach functions. As you can see, we've got all of our functions in there, but we can attach more functions. Examples of what to send. So what's special about this is we're only going to be using the conversational format that the caller has given us. So for example, tomorrow at 2 p.m. or Wednesday next week at 10 a.m., whatever conversational time they use, we're going to send that as part of the tool. And then we're going to use N8N to check availability and process everything. So we can see we've just got some examples on how the agent should phrase everything. You can see do not convert or phrase yourself, just send what they said. Then finally, we've said the N8N workflow will handle everything. And then from here, this is when they receive availability. So the results will either come back in 2 ways. It will say the original time was requested that is available, or it'll say there or it'll say there's more slots closest to that time. So those are the 2 types of inputs the agent can receive back, right? So the results will come back with either an available requested time or the customer's alternative time to that time that they requested, right? Do not book the appointment yet until the user has confirmed the time. Then from here, once the user has confirmed the time, it'll then proceed on to step 6, which is collecting the email for the booking. Once the caller gives the email, it'll then confirm, which is very, very important. The agent needs to confirm to the user the email because voice agents can often get the email wrong because people's names are long, last names are different, they're more complex. So right here, it's very important that our agent is repeating the email letter by letter with pauses so it can confirm everything. Step 7 is collecting the phone number, if not already provided. So again, we're just collecting the phone number, repeating the exact same process. Then finally, we're doing an overall confirmation. And then after that, it confirms it with a final message. After it's confirmed, it'll then book the appointment. So of course, I'll leave this entire prompt, but I thought I'd just run you through everything and this prompt for this particular sub agent and conversational agent right here. We can see we've got some examples, and then we have some tools, letting the agent know the tools, and then a little reminder, and then some notes, letting N8N handle all the conversations. Don't mention N8N, send the time in a natural format, never run any functions or tools without collecting necessary details. So again, just more notes as we're very used to. So now, with that being said, we are going to add in our first tool, which is going to be a conversational tool, a function tool right here. And we're going to be adding in the first tool, which is going to be a custom function. So this is going to be check cal available. That's going to be our tool name. And then the description is obviously giving a description of the tool. So this tool will be check. Okay. Again, that's a description going into the LLM to let the AI know what type of tool it is. API endpoint. So now this is where we're going to use N8N as our automation software to process all of the bookings automatically, handle any errors, send any SMSs, etc. So now I'm going to go over to N8N. Now, obviously, if you're not familiar with N8N, you can go ahead in the link in the description, sign up, get 14 days free. But once you've done that, you need to create a new workflow inside N8N. Now, you probably will be familiar with N8N. So we're going to be adding in a webhook right here. This is going to be a webhook trigger. So it's going to trigger as soon as it gets information. Then from here, we're going to switch it to production URL. Make sure it is post. And then we're just going to copy it. Paste it back here. Okay, so that's going to be our API endpoint. And then from here, we have our parameters. So again, we just need some of the parameters. So we need the requested time. So again, the requested time to check availability. That's all we're going to need in this prompt. Okay. And then the detail, which is just the description. So again, this time that the customer wants to book. And then we'll just put example, which will just be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Right? So that's an example of what the agent should send in that value. And then we'll just put this in commas so the agent knows. Okay, awesome. Then we'll just switch it to required as well. So again, this is going to be obviously a custom function. So now let's go ahead and click save. And then now we can add this into our pathway, right? But before we do that, we need to put some test data in so we can get some data inside this workflow so we can then continue to build it out. So obviously in the transition, we're now going to add a transition so it can check availability. So we'll just say when the check availability tool is needed. And what we're also going to do is just make sure this is the same inside the prompt. So if we come up here, we'll just make sure that this is the same up here. So use the cal availability tool. We're just going to change this to the name of our function that we already added in, which is check cal availability. Okay, awesome. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag this over in Retell. That's how it works in the complex conversational format. So now this agent has access to this tool. So now what we're going to do is we are going to send some test data in this workflow so we can start building out everything. And before we do that, make sure to switch it to active and then click got it. And then from here, we now have a webhook active so we can receive data in. Okay, awesome. So now let's come back to Retell and we are going to now test the agent. But before we do that, let's make sure we link this up to here so it has access to that conversational node. And then, yeah, we're going to test the agent and you can see how it is going to go down all these pathways so we get in that data. So let's go ahead and test it real quick.
Hi, this is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey, how you going? Look, I'd just like to book a new appointment.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I'm a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling a booking?
It'd be a new booking.
Great, thanks for letting me know. Can I get your full name to get things started?
Yeah, sure. It's Ashton Voss.
Great, Ashton. What type of appointment would you like to book, like a cleaning, a checkup, or is there a specific concern you want us to look at?
It's a cleaning appointment.
Got it, Ashton. A cleaning for a wound. What day and time would work best for you to come in?
Do you have any availability tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Okay, awesome. So you can see right there, we have some test data in the workflow and we can start to build out everything at the moment. So let's go ahead and click copy to editor. And if we come into the webhook, we can see that the data has been received right here. That's the requested time in that conversational format that we need. So now we can continue to build out the workflow. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add in an AI agent. And the purpose of this AI agent is obviously to get that time, convert it to the format that we need, check availability within a calendar using the tool section. And then also it's going to suggest more slots if that time is not available as well. So make sure to click define below. And then this is where we're going to be putting in our prompt and user message. Now, of course, I've already built this prompt, right? Just to make it easier to run you through, but I'll run you through step by step, of course. So we have the expression up the top. And this is a very similar format that you obviously are used to. Your job is to check availability for Bright Smiles Dental using the get availability node. You will receive a natural time request and you must return the available appointment slot in a conversational format. And then from here, we have the operating hours. So again, just letting the AI agent know the operating hours. So when it is checking times, it needs to make sure it is within these operating hours. So we can see we've got Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, etc. And then this is where we have our booking information. So as I mentioned before, we're going to have the customer requested time. And then if we come over to our webhook right here, and we can drag in the requested time that we have just received, okay? And then we're going to have the current time now. This is very important so that AI agent knows the requested time and the current time. And then we're also going to put in the time zone as well so that agent can correctly understand what time the user is looking to book. Okay, then we're going to put in the current time, which is going to be double curly brackets, $sign, and then now, right? Which is going to give the agent the current time right now in your time zone. As you can see, that's going to be the current time. Now, in order to obviously create the booking, the agent is going to need to be referring to a very specific format inside cal.com. So if we head over to cal.com, we can see the required information that is needed to check for slots. So now I will leave down all the API references down below in the description if you want to refer to them as well. But we can see right here that the agent, it needs to have UTC format. It can't be in an offset, it needs to be in UTC. So in order to actually go ahead and do that, we're going to prompt the agent to use the current time and use the requested time to get that format and then check availability for the cal.com API. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste in this prompt, obviously, but I'll run you through step by step. So we can see your process, right? Phrase the requested time. Figure out what specific date and time the user wants by using the requested time in brackets. We've referred it again, tomorrow at 2 p.m. and the current time, which is now, right? We can see the example. So the current time, the agent is going to look at the requested time and the current time and figure out like a general date and overview, which is Thursday 12th, right? So we can see tomorrow at 2 p.m. That's an example. Friday, December 13th, 2025, or whatever, right? So next Wednesday, so we can see we're just providing examples on how to phrase the output, right? And then from here, this is where it's going to search for availability. So I'm just pasting in this. So we can see step 2, first search for availability, and you must only search for the requested time. So search the exact 1 hour slot they updated. And then the time zone conversion is going to be Australia, Brisbane. So it's going to be converting it to a GMT offset of 10, but then it's going to subtract it, and then that is going to give us our UTC format that we need for cal.com. So we can see we've given it an example on how to convert with the time zone, and then it's subtracting 10, which is going to give us the format required. So we can see we provided more examples, right? And then from there, you must search with the parameters that you have decided using the get availability tool. So we're going to be adding on a tool to our AI agent to then search for availability. We've given an example of a start and end date, which is what we're going to be giving it, and then we'll go to result. So again, if it is available, we'll then convert all those UTC time slots into Brisbane time and then return a conversational format, and then that's going to come back to our little AI agent right here. So let's go ahead and come out, but we're going to need a few more things. Let's paste this prompt. Again, this is going to be one of the longest prompts that we have inside these workflows, just because there's formatting issues, and then sometimes times might not be available, so it needs to check for more times, etc. So we can see right here, this is our last bit. So we can see we picked up off here. We can see do not search further if the requested time is available, right? So it's going to stop. But if it's not available, we'll then search for the next 3 hours within that time. So we can see we're prompting it again. So if that time is not available, it'll then search for the next 3 hours, and we can see the parameters, and then from there, it'll return a result with the available slot, and it's going to convert those messages back into Brisbane time, and then from here, we're giving an example of what a response would look like. So essentially what the agent's going to be doing, if that time is not available, it'll search again, add 3 hours on to the end time from the start time, and see if there's any more slots. So we can see we've got examples right here. If the UTC time is this, convert it to Brisbane, and then say, great, on Friday it is available. So again, it's just converting those times into conversational formats. And then we've got some critical rules. So only use the first search with the exact 1 hour slot requested. Don't do anything else. Use the second search if the first search fails. And then the second search window should be 3 hours. Always convert Brisbane to UTC by subtracting 10 hours. That's the most accurate way to do it, because we have our time zone right here, and that's the best way to get the format. And then always use ISO 861 format with the UTC format that cal.com requires. Because if we go back here, we can see that it requires a UTC format that we can see right here with no offset. So that's essentially our prompt in here. So if we come back out, now we can add in a chat model. Now we're going to be using OpenAI. You should already have an OpenAI account if you sign up with the free link down below in the link description. In N8N, you can get free credits completely for free, so you can go ahead and get started. But I recommend obviously using an API key and connecting it to here. But if you watch some of my videos, you should know how to do that by now. And then finally, we're going to be adding in a tool. So this is going to be a HTTPS request tool, and we're going to be interacting within cal.com, which is going to be this API endpoint right here. So now that one, if we come back, this is going to be the tool that we have right here. So let me just get up the details that I have alongside it. So we can see the description. This is going to be a description that the AI agent is going to know about, to let everyone know and the AI agent know the purpose of this tool. So we can just go, I'm just pasting this in for easy reference. We can do, this tool will be used to check availability in the calendar. And then the method is going to be get, and then the URL is going to be this, which is going to be /slot. So we can see right here, that's the API endpoint referring to the cal.com endpoint. Authentication, we're going to leave as none, but we're going to switch send query parameters on, right? And this is going to be where we're going to be referencing our start and end date that the AI agent has given us. So we'll name it start, and then we'll flick this on to obviously the value. And then we'll name another parameter, and we'll put this as end, and then we'll flick this on, let the model define the parameter as well. Okay, and then from there, we also need another parameter, which is going to be event. It's going to be event type ID, but it needs to be exactly like this. So if we refer to the API documentation, we can see, if we come down, we can see the authorization. So we're going to need a authorization bearer code and then a header code, but we can see with the query parameters, we're going to need when the format date range. So extend, we're going to need obviously the start and end date time to check within those query parameters. So if we come back right here. This is where you're going to be getting the event type ID that you have right here. So I'm going to be going into cal.com. Obviously, you need to create a new event type in cal.com if you're using this method. Once you have done that, you can click into that event type, and essentially the format that you're going to need is this number right here. So go ahead and copy that. That's going to be the number that you need, and paste that in here. Then from here, we're going to switch on send headers, and then the first name you want to do is this, which is going to be Cal API version, and then the value is going to be this right here. So we can see if we come back, that is going to be obviously the values that they have inside the API documentation, which is what I'm referring to. And then from here, this is where we're going to be adding in our authorization bearer token, right? Which essentially tells cal.com it is interacting with a verified API request. So make sure it is named as authorization, and then the value, this is what you want to do to get the value. So come back over to cal.com. You want to come into settings right here, and then you want to do API keys. And then you will want to click add, and then name it something. Make sure to switch it to never expires. It's probably easier. And then once you have that, you will get an API key. You know, I can just create one now. We'll just name it test, save, copy. Okay. And then if we come back to our end-to-end workflow, we'll paste it in like this. But that is not obviously the required format. We need to put it a bearer word before it. So it needs to be exactly like this, bearer, and then space. So we can see this is our API request, and it's going to be checking for that available time slot. So now that's going to be it for that API request. And then finally, we're going to do respond to webhook node to respond to everything. And then it's just going to be with first incoming item. So now we can go ahead and test the agent. And we should obviously, the agent's going to be interacting with everything. While that's happening, we can add our functions back here. So we can see green, that was a response. Let's see what happens. So we can see that time is available that was requested. So again, that's in that UTC format. So we know this workflow now works. Go ahead and click save, and that will be all good, right? So now it's going to check availability within a calendar. So with the transitions, we want to add two transitions. So we want to add specifically if, you know, we'll add the time returns as available, because obviously this is looking for a webhook response. This function is getting a webhook response. We need to make sure we click wait for result, and then we're just going to be routing this back to the agent because it needs to continue on with the conversation, so it actually goes ahead and books the appointment. All right, and then what we're also going to do is we're going to put as well for time is not available, just in case something goes wrong within the webhook and it returns an error, but it should return other slots. So we're going to do time is not available as well. So if that requested time is not available, it's obviously going to return more slots that we have inside the calendar. But we just need to make sure we put this as well, and then we can route this back to the agent. So now we have our check availability tool. Now the next tool that we need to have is the book appointment tool. Now we're going to be using the exact same thing. We're going to be using the functions right here, and then we're going to be creating a new custom function. It's going to be the exact same thing. So we're going to be getting that API endpoint with a brand new end-to-end workflow and it doing the same thing. So we'll name this book cal appointment right here. And then the tool name will be this tool. All right, awesome. So again, that's the tool name, and then API endpoint. So again, just like we did with this workflow, we're going to come out to a new workflow, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to create a webhook call right here, make sure we switch it to post, production URL, grab it, and then we come back to Retell and paste it in, right? Also with this, make sure the response webhook is now using respond to webhook node. Otherwise it won't work. Go ahead and click save, and that'll be all good now, okay? So now for the book appointment, we're going to need a few other things. Now, I'm just going to come back. I'll just put something in here. It's fine. We'll just name it as this for now. But what I'm going to do, we just need to check what information it is going to need. So it's going to need the appointment type, it's going to need the full name, the email, and then it's also going to need the phone number, which is what I believe. So that's going to be everything that it needs to use to create the booking. And then also it's going to need the confirmed time. So there's going to be all of the variables that we're going to be mapping inside our... Yep. All right, I'm just double checking. All right, awesome. So let's come out to the functions and we can just add this in now, which is going to be book cal appointment. So again, this is going to be our second function. We'll add a transition, the prompt, and then we'll do when the book appointment tool is needed. All right, awesome. So we come out and we drag that to our book appointment. And while we're at it, we'll just make sure we have this name, the exact same name in our prompt. Okay, awesome. So, right, now what we're going to do is we are going to do the exact same thing and we're going to put some test data in that. Obviously, before we do that, let's go ahead and map in our form variable. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the confirmed underscore time, which is going to be the confirmed time for the appointment. Right, and then we're going to use also full name right here. Make sure this is like that. And then email, number, and then appointment type as well is important. And I believe that's really everything we need. So again, we'll just map in all these variables, the customers. So again, pretty self-explanatory, just explaining what the parameter is. The appointment type, which is going to be obviously the type of the appointment. The type of appointment the customer is. Okay, awesome. And we'll just flick these all as required as well. Just makes it easier. So yeah, I believe that's everything that we need. We have the full name, we've got the email, we've got the phone number, appointment type, and then also the confirmed time as well. So now that we have that, we're going to do the exact same thing. Obviously, we're going to make sure this is like this. Make sure to switch it to active up here. And then executions. So now we're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to check availability, and then it's going to obviously put our data that we need to build out our workflow. So let's do the exact same thing, and let's come back and we will test the agent again, and we'll see if we can get some data in.
Hi there. This is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey, Emily, I'd just like to book a new appointment, please.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I'm a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or can... Great, thanks for letting me know. Can I get your full name to get things started?
It's Ashton Voss.
Great, Ashton. What type of appointment would you like to book? Like a cleaning
Just
checkup,
be a
or is
general
there
cleaning. General cleaning.
Got it, a general cleaning appointment. What day and time would work best for you, Ashton?
Do you have any availability tomorrow at 3 p.m.?
Awesome, Ashton. We do have a spot open tomorrow at 3 p.m. for your cleaning. Can I grab the best email address to send your confirmation to?
Sure, it'd be ashtonvoss47@gmail.com.
Thanks, Ashton. Just to make sure I got that right, let me spell it out. ashtonvoss47@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. Okay, awesome. So we can see we have some data in there with the webhook. Now, copy to editor. So I believe, I'm not sure if the agent asked our phone number. We can double check. So yeah, it didn't actually ask our phone number. So let's go back to the agent and let's make sure our prompt is good. Okay, and then we'll just add in here after the caller, you must proceed to step 7 to ask their number. All right, awesome. So that'll make sure, and then we'll just do not book the appointment. Yeah, okay. But again, we can use the variables that we have now. That's just fine. But yeah, we have everything that we need. So again, copy to editor, and now we can continue to build out our next workflow that we have. So this is going to be a little bit different. All that we need, if we are referring to our calendar right here, we're going to need relatively the same thing. So again, we're going to need the same API version, the same authorizations. But what is different is we're just going to be needing the email to create the booking, and then the start time as well, and then the name, and then some other variables. That's why we have everything in there. So let's come back out to here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add in an AI function, right? And the whole purpose of this is to get that time and just convert that conversational time to a UTC format, which is what we need. So we're not going to need an agent for this one, right? Because our agent was making multiple tool requests to check for more availability. But we're just going to be using a message, a model action right here. So again, we are going to do GBT 4.1 for now, which is fine. And then we're going to have two messages. We're going to have a system prompt message, and then we're also going to have a user message as well. So the system prompt message, let me just get it up real quick because I've already pre-built it, but I'll run you through it, of course. So again, just switch it to expression, and then we'll open it up right here. So your job is to convert the appointment time to UTC format for a cal.com booking. Again, very, very simple, right? Then here, we're going to map in the variables that it has. So again, right here, you will receive the time, and then the appointment time, we can sub in just like this. Let's move this. We can see we have the appointment time. So the confirmed time is going to be this right here. Now I'm not sure, it should have sent it in a conversational format, just like it did with the check availability. So I'm not sure why I didn't do that. We'll go ahead and prompt it again, but this is fine. We can still work with this. It's relatively the exact same thing. The reason why we did conversational format is it's just easier for the agent, so it doesn't mess up. But I believe that time is correct, which is fine, you know. But again, we will just natural conversational language, yeah. So we'll just make sure. I think that's probably because it didn't follow the conversational format. Right here, so that's probably why it sent it in that time zone, but that's fine. It's still going to do the thing that we need. So yeah, that's fine. That'll work. Don't worry about that. Make sure you have the updated prompt that I'll give you. So we have the appointment time, obviously, which is the requested start time, and then we also have the current time we have now. And then from here, we're going to outline the task for the agent. So you can see your task is to phrase the appointment time into a specific date and time, convert Brisbane time to UTC, subtract 10 hours, and then return only the start time in ISO 8601 format in the UTC time zone. So the output will be like this. So we can see return only this, nothing else. And then we're going to put some examples. Again, this is very, very simple. Here is some examples. So we'll say, you know, here's an input, right? And then here's your output, here's an input, here's your output. So again, providing some examples to the agent. So with that being said, then we will have, obviously, we don't need the user message at the moment. We just need a system prompt. So if we go ahead and execute the workflow, we can see that the agent will return a time that we have in UTC format. Awesome. So that's the time zone that we need. And then from here, we are going to obviously make a request for the booking. So we're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to be make a HTTPS request. And now we're going to be referring to the booking calendar right here. So if we copy this URL, this is what we're going to need. Come back and we're going to paste it. Now this is going to be a post method, I believe. So yeah, you can see post right there. So again, this is what we're going to be needing for the booking. Now we're going to be doing something very, very similar. Switch to the post. We're going to need to send headers. Now we're not going to be using query parameters because we're going to be using a custom JSON. We're not going to be using this. But for the headers, it's going to be the exact same thing. So we need the cal API version, and then the value, which is the version when the last API version was updated, but make sure it's 08 instead of 09 like it was before previously in the check availability. And then the authorization right here, and then the exact same bearer token, that you had previously in the workflow. So I'm just going to paste in mine, for example. So awesome, that is all good. So again, maybe open up your other workflow tab so you can quickly paste it across, because we're going to be needing to do this multiple times as well. Now, as I said before, we're not going to be using a send query parameter. We're going to be using a send body, and we're going to be using a custom JSON body. Now, I've already got this JSON pulled up for quick reference, but I'll run you through everything for now. So this is our custom JSON body right here. So we can see we just need to map in some of the variables, but we have the start time from our AI agent. So if we see, I'll just quickly delete it so you know how to map it in. So you can see we've got the start time. This is what you'll need to obviously send a JSON body to create the appointment. So if we come back here, we can see this is an example within cal.com. We can see this is an example of a JSON body, right? So we come back here. The start time is obviously going to be the text from our AI agent. That's going to be its output. And then event type ID. That's going to be the same event type ID that you had. Obviously, if we come back here, this is going to be the same event type ID that you put in here. Okay. And then the name, we're going to be dragging in all the variables that we have from our webhook right here. So we just minimize this. We put the webhook in. All right. And then we can see we're going to put in the full name. So we're just going to be deleting this and putting in the full name. And then we're going to be doing the exact same thing for all the other variables. And then right here, we have the metadata. So again, this is extra data that you can add on to the appointment, such as the appointment type, the phone number, the description. So, maybe you want to collect other information in the conversation that's useful for the business. This is where you will put it. So again, we've got the appointment type, exact same thing, dragging over. And then we'll just put the number here as well. And the full number, right? Make sure we get that. Okay, awesome. So that is everything. So we now have the full JSON ready to obviously book the appointment. Okay. And then after that, we are just going to, I believe that's everything from the, yep. Okay, awesome. So we come back, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add an if statement. So this is just an error handling, workflow that I like to do. So we can do if the appointment is successfully booked, we can then obviously say, hey, your appointment is booked, but maybe there's been an error or something's happened on the HTTP request. Then we can send a webhook back to the agent, and we can say, hey, unfortunately the booking, we have encountered a technical error. Our team will reach out to you, and then we can route the conversation so the agent can maybe transfer the call to a human or send a text message, etc. And I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. But this is just a very important logic that you need to have inside your obviously workflow. So let's go ahead and execute this again, and hopefully it will create the event in the calendar right here. Awesome. So we can see we now have that variable, which is success, right? So now we're going to map that status in, and we'll do if status is equal to, right, success. So we can see if it is equal to this, then it'll be true, right? So we'll just do, right, if it's equal to this, right, we can see it's going to be true, and then it will move on. So from there, then we can add in our webhook response, which will say, okay, the webhook has been successfully, the appointment has been successfully booked. So we can come back, and we have the first incoming item, which is obviously, I'm going to change this to JSON right here, and we're just going to do, we'll do status, and then we'll do success up here. And then we're going to add one more thing, which is just going to be message. And we will do, your appointment has been successfully booked right here. So again, that's going to be our message that we have. Okay, awesome. So we're going to get that, we're going to copy that, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to change it to, obviously, it's been unsuccessful right here. So again, do the same thing. We're going to add in a respond to webhook, JSON, come in, and then we'll just change the message, which is unsuccessful. And then the message is going to be, we have encountered a technical error. Please, maybe let's say, please suggest another time, or please try again, or something like this. So again, this is going to be sent back to the agent, right? So this has everything. So again, if we execute it again, it's not going to work, but let's execute this node right here, and we can see that that is equal to success, right? So then it will go down to true, and then it will book the appointment. So now that you have that, make sure to go ahead and click save, and then that is our last tool built out. Now we are going to also add in more transition types. So again, we're going to do the booking has been successful as the transition type. So again, that's going to be our webhook that has just been responded. Booking has been successful, right? And then what we're going to do is we can add in another conversational node, which is just going to be a conversational node to confirm the appointment, right? To say, hey, look, your appointment has been successful. Is there anything else I can help you with today? So again, I'm just getting my prompt. It's a very short one. But you can see how we can make the conversations more rigid and reliable using different conversational nodes and different separate prompts rather than all in one prompt. So if we attach that right there, we can see that's going to be our prompt that we have. Confirm the booking success. Say, confirm the booking after you've gotten your response. So obviously it's going to be correct based on this transition. We'll say, hey, excellent, you're all set for this time. You'll receive a confirmation text message shortly with your details. Then ask, is there anything else I can help you with, right? And then from there, we can also continue to build out other conversational pathways. So in this example, you can say, maybe the user wants to transfer to a human. Maybe they have questions about the business. So now we can route back to our other sub-agents that we have. So if we click plus and then we add another prompt, then we can do user has confirmed that there is obviously nothing else. Then we can end call. So again, these are just different things that the user could say, right? So I'm just giving you an example of what you could do. And then we can also put obviously if they've got any questions, right? Got any questions? And now from here we can route all of these back. So for example, if the user wants to transfer to another human, we can route this all the way back to here, which is going to be this particular node. And then maybe they want to, speak to the, ask any questions about the business. We can then route it back to our knowledge base agent here. So you can see how we can route everything back. And then finally, we're going to add in an ending tool. So this is going to mark the end of the conversation. We can route it to here when the customer obviously signals that they're done. There's nothing else they need help with. So that's going to be if a booking is successful. And then if a booking is unsuccessful, we can maybe add in another conversational node, right? We'll say booking is unsuccessful. And then we can add in, let's just put this up here. And then we can add in another conversational node to essentially say, unfortunately, it has been unsuccessful. So we'll just use this as a static sentence at the moment. And we'll put this there. And then we can say, as soon as you have obviously finished the sentence, that's going to be the transition to end the call. Finished the sentence. So again, this is just an example of how you can structure everything. So let's come in and we'll name everything. Confirmation message. And then we will name this, if the booking is unsuccessful. Unsuccessful message. Okay. Awesome. So you can see, how we can update the agent prompt and the pathway. So that is going to be our book agent done. So just to recap and reiterate, based on the type of customer, if it is an existing customer right here, the booking type 1, or we'll just put this is 2, right? It's then going to identify the type of booking. So now we have our booking agent. It's going to check for availability, right? If it is available, it'll say, hey, it's available. If it's not available, our workflow will handle that. And then it's going to book appointment. And then I've just obviously gave you an example of how you can map out extra conversational nodes. If it's unsuccessful, you can provide an unsuccessful message. If it is successful, then you can obviously provide a success message and then see if they need help with anything else. Okay. So that is going to obviously wrap up our book appointment agent. Now we're going to be moving on to the cancel agent. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing right here. I'm going to expand this up here so we have room for everything else. Let's put this here. And cool. All right. So now let's map out our cancellation agent. So we're going to put in a new conversational node and we're going to name this cancel agent. Okay. Now for the cancel agent, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to need to search up the booking of the person to get the booking information and the booking UID, which is what we need. And then we're going to make another request to cancel the appointment. So this time we have two HTTPS nodes, but I'll run you through everything as well. So very much similar to our new agent, we have a prompt. So again, I've already built the prompt, but I'll run you through it quickly. It's very, very simple. It's not too, complex. So again, we've got the role, we've got the personality. I won't run over these again. It's the exact same thing. We've got the current time. We've got the existing patient information, just like we did before. It's going to be mentioning existing patient information. And then we have the tone. And then this is where it's going to be a little bit different. So the agent is going to need to get the customer's email that they have, and then it's going to send it to the cancel appointment tool. And then that tool from there is going to look if the booking is obviously does it exist? And then if it does exist, we can use NNN's logic to obviously cancel the appointment. And then that's pretty much it, right? Then we have our cancellation logic. So again, it's just going to be collecting the email, wait for the confirmation. And then from there, it'll say, obviously canceling the appointment. It'll say, please wait one moment while I cancel your booking and cancel the appointment, which is going to handle all of the logic. So again, that's simply the prompt, right? And then we've got our tools and then we've got our notes as well. So I won't run through everything. I'll just run through the details that make it different from the other prompt. So now we'll add in our transition right here, which is when the cancel booking tool is needed. Now what we're going to do is we are going to then do the exact same thing. We need some test data. We'll build out the workflow and then we'll do everything from there. But before we do that, we need to create our functions. So we'll have our functions and we'll add it in. We'll do custom function and then we'll do cancel cal underscore booking. Sorry. Okay, sweet. So description, exact same thing to this tool. Okay, awesome. So this tool will be used to cancel the appointment in the calendar. API endpoint. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing. We've built out these workflows. Let's actually go ahead and name this for now. And we'll name this check cal availability. And I'll just name this 2 for now because I built this out earlier to obviously test everything. So I'll just name this 2 for my reference. But I will give you this obviously workflow for free if you want to implement it. Right, and then we'll name book cal underscore appointment right here. So that's going to be everything. So we've got that named. Now we're going to come into another workflow and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do webhook, start when webhook is called, post production URL, and then we'll get everything. All right, let's just make sure this is switched to respond to node so we know it works now. All right, and this is respond to node as well for our other workflows. That's very important because we need to put it in as immediately to get the data in, and then once we build everything out, we need to use respond to webhook node so the agent knows the result of the tool. So that's all good now. We'll go ahead and get the production URL. Make sure we switch it to active. Awesome. So going to be doing the exact same thing. Come back here, paste it in. then all we're going to be needing to do is literally just do the email, because we just need to search if it exists, and if that booking does exist, then we'll just cancel it straight away. So we'll do the email the user provided you with. Cancel the appointment. Okay. So we'll just name it required as well. Okay, let's go ahead and click save. And then we'll click add as well. And then we'll just put it right here. Now we can go ahead and test this flow. We'll get some test data in just like we did before.
Hi there. This is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey, I'd just like to cancel a booking that I had.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I'm a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling a booking?
I was looking to cancel a booking.
Got it. You'd like to cancel a booking. Could you give me the name the appointment was under and the date or time, if you remember?
Sorry. Okay, so you can see right there we didn't have this map. That's my bad. So we'll just go ahead and do it again.
Hi, this is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey, I'd just like to cancel an appointment.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I'm a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling a booking?
I'd be canceling a booking.
No worries at all. I can help you with that. Could I please get the email address you used when you booked the appointment?
Yeah, it's ashtonvoss47@gmail.com. Okay, awesome. So we can see we've got some data in there now. Again, pretty repetitive. We're doing the exact same thing. I'm going to come there, and then I'm going to copy to editor. Now we can continue to build everything out that we have right here. So now what we're going to do is, obviously we have that data in. We can see we have our email. So all we need really is the email to search if the booking actually exists. And then straight from there, we're going to see if that booking exists. So we're going to add in another HTTPS node. Right, and it's going to be another get request. So if we come back to the get request, we can see that this is going to be the booking, but this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to need a booking UID. So this is going to be for canceling a booking, but we're going to be using the same function that we did, but we're going to be searching for all the available appointments under that email. So we can see we're going to be using this API that we have right now, which is get all bookings. So we come out, we're going to go to here, and then we're going to paste in this URL, which we need right here. So we're going to have send query parameters and then send headers as well. We'll do the headers as well because it's going to be the exact same thing. The Cal API version and then the authorization headers, I'll add it in, but you should have the hang of this right now. Again, it just pastes in literally everything that we have. Authorization, and then the same bearer code that you had there. Okay, so query parameters. Now we're going to be needing to send the user's email. So if we come back here, get all slots, we need the attendee email. It needs to be exactly like this. So again, you can refer to the document or follow step by step along what I'm going to be doing, but attendee email, and then we're going to be dragging in the email that has just been sent from our agent. So if we come out, we'll put in the email right there. So that should be all good to go. We can go ahead and execute, obviously, this workflow, and we can see if there is a booking. So bang, it has been green. So now we can go ahead and add an if statement. And the reason why we need to do this is because we need to check, okay, is there a booking that actually exists under that email? If it is, we'll go ahead and cancel it. But then if it's not, we'll say, hey, could you provide us another email you might think the booking is under? So again, that's just an example of why we're doing this in N8N, so we can handle everything. So let's go ahead and do if. And then also why we need this as well is to get the booking UID. So what we're going to do is we're going to do if, we'll put in the data, and we'll put if the booking UID exists as well. So you should have everything. The data. Okay, so we can see the agent got our email wrong. It cut off the S. So that's why we have nothing in there. But for now, I'll just put in my email that we have. So again, that's just an agent error. But if we execute, we should have a booking underneath it. Bang, you can see, okay? So we'll just need to make sure, obviously, the agent spells it right. That's just a prompting issue. We can go back and do that, but we can see that's my email right there. But for now, once we just need that data that we have. Actually, we'll just leave it for now. But we'll come back and map in that variable. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we have everything that we need, and then we'll put in this if statement, and we'll do the UID. So specifically, what we're going to need is the unique identifier for that particular booking. So we can see the UID right here. This is going to be what we need. So if this exists, then it's going to be true. So we can see, let's go ahead and execute that. Bang, we can see that's true. Now we can add in a webhook response. Now, just to make this quicker, I'm going to be coming back to our book appointment one, and we'll just be copying the exact same thing that we have right here. So we'll come out, and then we'll do your appointment has been successfully cancelled. Also, one more thing that I obviously forgot to do is do the cancel appointment node, but we'll just leave that webhook response out. So now that we need to do is we need to add in another HTTPS node. Now that we have that booking UID, we know it exists, we can then use it to cancel the appointment. So we're going to be obviously using this particular API endpoint, right, which is going to need this exact format. So we're just going to copy and paste this from the API documentation, and we're going to come back here, and then this is going to be a post method, I believe. Yep, so it's going to be post to cancel it. And then, of course, we're going to need the booking UID. So, obviously, we're going to come back, right? We're going to come down to where we have our UID, and we're going to put it in right here. Make sure. So, again, it's going to need to be in between these two kind of dashes right here. All right. Awesome. So, that's exactly what we need. Not sure. Okay, we need to make sure it is expression. It is. Okay. I think we're missing a double curly bracket. All right. Awesome. So that's going to be that UID that we have. And then the exact same thing, we're just going to need the headers. And then we're just going to be putting in the API version as well. So pretty self-explanatory. We'll just put everything here. And then the barrow as well. So that's literally it, right? And then from here, we also need a body parameter, and we're going to need a cancellation reason. So this is something that they provide, and we can just make this a static value for now, which is just going to be customer requested. We can just leave it as that, right? Whatever you want the cancellation reason to be. Maybe you want the agent to collect it, and then you can map in the fields that it has right there. But for now, this is fine. So now that we have that, we can put it back to our webhook respond, and then we're just going to be doing, we'll just duplicate this for now, and we'll put this in, put this canceled. All right, awesome. Then we'll just do the exact same thing, and then we'll say, look, we could not find a appointment under that email. Please use another one. Please try and give us another one. All right, sweet. So, and then we'll just name this as unsuccessful as well. All right, awesome. So that's going to be our last webhook node that we have. So now let's go ahead and run everything, and hopefully everything is going to work. We cancel the appointment. Awesome. So we can see green has been successfully canceled right there. So we've got the UID, we've got our authorizations. So you can see that has been canceled. I've just got a notification on my phone right there. So now that's our other cancellation workflow built out right here. We'll just do, up the top, I'll just name it cal cancel appointment right here. Cancel underscore. All right, so that's all good, right? And then we need to make sure that this is using respond to webhook node. And we obviously go to save here. So obviously now we have our workflow ready. We've got our production URL. We come back to cal.com. This will now work. Now we're going to add the transition. So again, we need to make sure we're going to add our transitions, which is going to be booking is, we'll just do cancellation is successful. Makes more sense. Cancellation is successful, and then we'll do no appointment found, because that was what our other webhook response is. So email, okay, awesome. And in the prompt as well, we'll just update a few things. Just wait for confirmation, and then we'll just do ensure you confirm to the user their email and read it back slowly. This will just make sure we have the agent accurately collecting the email. So that's going to be all good. Right here, when the appointment booking tool is needed, cancellation successful. So again, we can add in another kind of message right here. We can say the exact same thing that we have up the top. So we're just going to be pasting this in because it's just going to be the exact same. So we're just going to put this down here. Yeah, that'll be fine. We'll put this down here just so we have room for everything. And we're going to come up to our duplicated conversation message and we'll put it in here. Cancellation successful, and then we'll just change the things, right? So confirm booking success, confirm the booking after you've gotten your response. So we'll just say you are confirming a successful cancellation. All right, awesome. Okay. So that is going to be the message that we have. Confirm the booking after you've gotten a response. Say, excellent, your appointment has been, we'll just say, your appointment has been cancelled for day time, thank you, right? And then the agent will ask, is there anything else I can help you with? And then it'll just map everything out. So we'll just quickly map all of these back to here. Actually, no, that's going to be our ending one. And then we'll just put this back to our conversational agent, just like we did before. And then we can add in our ending tool right here. Awesome. So, right, so we can see our cancel agent, and then I think we have to add one more thing in. Collect the email address. Yeah. And then we'll just add in the notes as well, because it's going to be receiving, if there's maybe an error, we can say, if the tool returns a error, make sure you collect the new email that the customer gives you. And then we'll just copy this. Actually, no, we'll put it all the way back in the email and we'll put it up here. You may get the caller giving you another email that may have been used for the booking. So please repeat this process again. Okay, so this is our cancellation agent done. So no appointment found. Please give us a new email, and then we'll map this back to there. Okay. So the appointment has obviously that is now our logic all done. I'm just double checking everything what I've got here. So yeah, that's gonna be all good. We'll have our little conversation message right here. And then also, I'm thinking maybe we should add in another transition. Let's say maybe there's like no email has been found, but again, we can just leave this. Again, if you'd like to add in another conversational pathway, maybe the email that they're giving you again after a second try is not available, so maybe you want to add in another conversational message, but we'll just leave it here so you can get an idea of the logic. So this is becoming a little bit of a mess, but you can see it is all starting to come together, and we have one final tool, which is going to be rescheduling. Now, rescheduling is going to be very similar, but there's just a little bit more conditional logic because we have to check for the available slot that they are requesting, also check for their bookings, and then etc. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer workflow, but we have everything mapped here. Obviously, that's all saved. So now that we're going to reschedule an appointment, I'm going to put in a new appointment in our cal.com things, just so we don't have to go back, check availability, do everything again up here. So again, because we're going to need an appointment inside our thing, right? Unfortunately, the booking is having a technical error, right? And then we'll also need to add in our ending nodes right here. Okay. Awesome. So we have everything we need. So now we can continue to our next workflow, which is going to be rescheduling the booking. So we need to make sure that our cancellation nodes are mapped in here. And then we're also going to put our final node, which is going to be rescheduling everything. So let's just move this up here. So we just have room. And then we'll map that there. Okay. So last node is going to be the canceling. I'll probably just move that. Okay, that's fine. You guys can see that. We'll just put it down here. Okay. Yeah, and we're going to be naming this the reschedule agent right here. And again, very, very similar, right? We're just going to have a prompt, exact same thing, but it's just going to be collecting the email and it's going to be collecting the requested time that they would like to book. So I won't run through this whole prompt again. I'll just highlight the differences because it's getting repetitive. So we can see up here, we've got the role, we've got the personality, time, existing pace, and information. Everything's still the same. The tone, the goals as well. So we can see your goals are to get the customer's email address, get their preferred new date and time, and then send it to the reschedule tool, and then everything will be handled later. We'll get our logic right here. So get the email, confirm with the email, collect their preferred time, etc. in conversational format. So again, exact same thing. After this, you must only, yes, again, everything's the exact same, right? And we will just make sure we have our reschedule. Customer wants to book a new appointment. Okay. That's all mapped up to our other previous ones. So we can see reschedule agent. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add the exact same thing. We're going to add a function. And then we're going to need the email and then preferred time. So cal reschedule. Make sure that is right. Again, very self-explanatory. Getting the description, getting the API endpoint from end to end. I'll just do it quickly live so you can see. Again, same thing. Now we're going to be creating another workflow. As I said before, come up to the top. Webhook, start when webhook is called. Production URL, make sure it is post. And then respond immediately. Come get it here. And then the form is going to be email, obviously, because we need to search for the booking. You can see the email that has been used for the booking, the description. And then we'll also add in the, we'll just add in like time as well. The requested time for the new appointment. Okay, awesome. So we have everything that we have now. time for the new appointment, and required. Okay, so go ahead and click save right there, and then we'll add this in here, and then we will do the exact same thing, attach it, and then we'll add a tradition when reschedule tool is needed. And then just for consistency's sake, we'll just copy this in and then do the exact same thing, put it in the prompt so you can see. Use the reschedule tool, appointment tool. Okay. Awesome. So that is going to be our prompt right there. And then also at the end, we're going to need to also put into the agent that, adding in some notes. I don't believe this is in the prompt, so we'll just add it in quickly. So we'll say you may get a response from the tool that the requested time of the new appointment is not available. Simply ask the user for their new preferred time to handle this, right? For example, again, that's important that we add that because the time that they're asking maybe could not be available. Okay, so just fix up this, obviously. Handle this booking. Okay. To process this, I'll just put process. All right, almost done here. I know this is a very, very long video, so but you know you will learn 100% if you can build this. You can build most systems. So, okay, notes. All right, awesome. So now we have everything we need. Let's obviously come out, do the exact same thing. I know it gets repetitive. Get the test data in, and then we'll build our final workflow. I've got one more workflow after this, which is going to be updating a database, which really completes the ultimate receptionist that we have. Okay, so now before we do that, obviously beforehand we canceled the appointment, right? So we obviously already did that. So I am going to come back to my calendar event type right here. And I am just going to open this event, and I'm just going to create a new booking. It's just a lot easier than doing it through the agent. And we'll need to make sure this is the same, and then we'll just do this as test and we'll confirm that. Okay, so now that that's in there, we can have obviously a workflow that can send the email, and we can just make everything a lot easier. All right, so that's done. So now let's go ahead and obviously test the agent again, test this pathway, and it'll get everything that we need right here. So let's go ahead and test it, and we can see.
Hi, this is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey Emily, I'd just like to book reschedule an appointment, sorry.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I am a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling?
It is a reschedulation, sorry. Reschedule.
No worries. Just to confirm, you'd like to reschedule an appointment. Since you mentioned you're a new customer, did you already have an appointment booked with us, or are you looking to set up your very first visit?
Yeah, we'll just do the same details, like we'll just do new details, sorry.
No worries at all. So just to be clear, are you looking to book a brand new appointment today?
Reschedule.
Got it. You'd like to reschedule. Can you give me the name, the original?
So obviously, that's my fault. We need to map this in. Yeah, we need to map this in, sorry.
Hi there. This is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
I would like to book an appointment.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I am a new customer.
Great. Thanks for letting me know you're in Newcastle. Just to check, are you a new customer with us?
New customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new
Reschedule.
booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling a booking?
Reschedule.
All right, I can help you reschedule your appointment. Can I grab your email address first? That way I can look up your booking and get this sorted for you.
Sure, so it's ashtonvoss47@gmail.com.
Thanks for that. Just to confirm, your email is ashtonvoss47@gmail.com. Is that right? Once
Yep.
that's confirmed, what day and time would you like to move your appointment to?
Do you have anything next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m.? All right. Awesome. So obviously I didn't map in everything, right? That's fine. But we now have the final piece of data that we have to build out this final workflow, which is just going to be rescheduling. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be adding in our SMSs that we need to send to the customer for a confirmation SMS that was promised, obviously, that I said at the start. So we're just going to be building out everything, making sure it all works, configuring the SMSs, and then we've got one final workflow to do after that, which is going to be a post-call analysis to update the database and everything. So now, with that being said, let's go ahead and do the reschedule. Now, this is going to be the most complex one that we have, obviously, because there's lots of endpoints. So make sure to follow along closely. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our cancel appointment, which I believe was this one, and just go ahead and copy this node, right? Just copy this and then come back to our workflow, because we're going to be using the exact same thing, because we actually need to go ahead and search for the appointment. So again, it's going to be the exact same thing, right? We've got the attendee email, right? If we come into execution, sorry, you need to copy this to editor. But we can see, got the attendee email, which is going to be this email that we have right here. So if we come in, email. So again, exact same thing. API version, authorization, everything's the same, right? So we'll just name this get appointments. So again, exact same thing, and then we're going to be doing the exact same logic. So if it does exist, it'll go down one path, and if it doesn't exist, it'll go down another path. So just execute this now. And you can see, we'll go ahead and see if the UID obviously exists. So if it exists, right, it'll then be true. And then from here, what we're going to do is we need to then get the conversational format that we have, convert it into a check availability workflow to check for that requested time. Then again, if that requested time is available, we can then now cancel reschedule the appointment with that new date and time, if that makes sense. So that's going to be how it's going to be running. Now, we're going to be using an AI agent for this. This is very easy, the reason why we do this. And it's going to be the exact same thing, and it's going to be defined below. And then obviously I've got my prompt already pulled up, and I'll run you through it step by step, of course. So expression. And we can see right here, this is going to be our message. So your job is to convert the new appointment time in UTC format for checking availability. You will always be receiving the customer's requested time to check availability in the calendar system. Input and data, this is going to be the time. So requested time. So it's very similar to our first workflow, but obviously this is just to check for availability for their requested rescheduled appointment time. So we're going to be coming back to our webhook in here. Awesome. And we are going to put in the time, and then we are also going to be putting in the current time now. So again, very similar to our other workflow, right? And then time zone, right? And then the process. So again, very, very similar. Just add this in. So again, probably have your other workflow with the check availability, so you can paste this prompt in. But of course, I'll give you everything separately. So time zone in, that's all good. And then we have a little description. So use the requested time and the current time you have now to define the start and end date parameters. Simply add 1 hour on to the start time to get the end time format. So your task right here, obviously, is to phrase a new appointment time into a Pacific time, convert the Brisbane time to UTC, subtract 10 hours, return both the start and end date times, and then do the exact same thing. So again, pretty similar. And then I'll just paste in everything that we have right here. So this is important. Output only return these two few fields, and we're going to be putting in a phraser tool to force these responses from the AI agent. But for example, this is just really everything that we need right now. So again, got the output, the expected output, and then we have examples of everything. Okay. So now that we have that, we have to add in our chat model. Awesome, chat model. And then we also need to add in our requested structured JSON output. So in our agent, make sure to do required specific format. And then at here, once we have that output phraser, we'll do structured output phraser. So this is forcing the agent to essentially return a structured JSON example that we have, right? So we come in, we can do JSON example, and I'm just retrieving a JSON prompt that we have at the moment. I'm just going to be pasting it in. Of course, you'll get this in the workflow if you do download it. So we can see this is an example. We've got the start and then we've got the end. That's an example of the format right there. So if we come out, let's execute this. Let's get appointments. And then now we have that as green. So now we can then continue to map out everything. So now that we have that time, we're going to check availability for that time. So again, it's going to be the exact same thing that we did back here, but it's just in a different format. It's in a HTTP request node rather than a tool. So we come back to here. We're going to do the node. HTTPS again. And this is going to be checking availability for the event ID that it has returned. So again, it's going to be get, and if you come back to here, let's just refer to this and we'll just copy in all of the variables that we do because this is just the exact same thing inherently, right? So get, and then we need query parameters and then headers as well. So we come back, the start time, and then that's going to be our start time agent, and then our end time. That headers, exact same thing. We just need the API version and the authorization as well. Okay, bang, bang. That one's going to be the 09, which is September, not the August one. So again, we're just copy and pasting everything back because it's the same thing. Okay, awesome. So that is everything I believe that we have. Start, end date, time. Yeah, awesome. So that is going to be checking availability to see if that is available, right? And then what is really important, we need to add in another check branch to see if that is available. So let's go ahead and we'll just execute this for now because we need to see if that time slot is available. Wrong properties. Okay, wait, sorry. I think we need the event type ID. Sorry, I missed that out. That's why that's not working. Again, that's something I missed out. Okay, so let's execute this again, and this will return green. All right, awesome. So we can see now we have that. Now we can do an if statement. So we'll see if this is obviously success equal to. Sorry, not this. It needs to be. Yeah, so it'll be an if statement, and if this is a success, so we'll do data status equal to success right there. So we can see that's going to be the same thing. Make sure that is spelled right, obviously, very important. Yeah, I'm just making sure I spelled the other one right. Okay, awesome. So that's going to be success, and we will execute that now. Awesome. And then we can add two webhooks. So obviously we'll add a webhook response right here to obviously say, hey, look, that appointment time is not available. So you need to obviously give us a new time so we can process that booking. And we're going to do JSON, and we're going to paste in something very similar to our other fallback processes and error handling processes. So this is going to be status, which is going to be obviously not available, right? And then we're going to have our default message that is pointed in. Okay, that's all good. And then we'll have something very, very similar up the top, but this is going to be a success. We'll say is we want to add in a new HTTPS node. It's going to be the exact same thing, very similar to obviously canceling. It's just going to be rescheduling. So it's going to be the exact same process, but we're just going to be subbing in the start and end date times. So if we come back to our workflow right here, it's going to be this, right? It's going to be http://cal.com, and then we're going to add in our expression, which is going to be that booking UID that we got from the original slot which the customer requested. So if we choose get appointments, come down, it's going to be data number 1 here. That's going to be our UID, and let's put that in right there. So we can see that is going to be our API point. And then the things that we're going to need to have is very similar. I'll put in the headers for now at the moment because that's what we're going to be using. And then we're going to be using Cal API version, and it's just going to be the exact same thing just like we did. Same thing with the authorization. So let's quickly do that. All right. And then from there, we're going to be using a send body, right? And we're just going to be using a JSON type, right? We can't send query parameters. It needs to be a JSON type. So we're going to be using the fields below. And then just like the canceling one, we're going to need a rescheduling reason. So we're going to be putting that in there. And then we'll just put customer requested for now. And then from there, we're just going to be using our start date that we need. If we come back up here, if we come to our AI agent, this is going to be our start date, right? That the agent has. And then that is all good. So now let's go ahead and add in our webhook response, which is just going to be a status message, which is just going to be, look, the appointment is available. And then if it is not available and that time is not available, we'll say, hey, look, sorry, that time is unavailable. Come back to Retell. We can now have our little rescheduling thing right there. So let's say that requested appointment time is not available, right? Then we can come back into cal.com and we can say the requested appointment time is not available. Then we'll also add that the booking has been success. Reschedule. Make sure we change this. Okay, awesome. So booking has been successfully rescheduled, and then if the requested time is not available, we'll route back to this, right? So that is everything, and then we'll add in a final conversational node, which is just going to be relatively the same thing from here, right? Which is going to be a success message, but this will be for reschedule. Make sure I get this right. You are confirming a successful rescheduled appointment. And then again, as we have our transitions, we'll just map everything. User needs to talk to a human. And then use as confirmed as nothing else. That will result in an ending right here. Use as questions about the business or appointments. We can then go back to here, use as questions about business. So again, going back to our knowledge base agent. So that is all done now. We have all three pathways mapped out with complex conversational logic. Everything is in there. We've got our booking agent, check availability, booking appointments, canceling agents, searching up calendar information, searching up everything, and then also rescheduling agents. Now, before we move on to the final workflow, which is going to be sending a post-call analysis to a webhook to analyze the conversation and update our database, which is our patient record right here and our customer record right here. The last thing that we want to do is I'm just going to be adding in some SMS conversations, and SMS confirmations as well. So this is going to be very, very simple, right? We're just going to be adding in what we call a Twilio node, right? And it's going to be sending an SMS and WhatsApp message. Now, you're going to need to connect your Twilio account. You're going to need an account SID ID, an account authentication as well. And to get that, it's very simple, right? Follow this guide. I'm not going to do it now because I'll have to get my key and everything, but it's very, very simple. You just need to use this guide. I'll leave this down below in the description. You need your SID ID and you need your authentication code, and you need to simply connect it right here using these variables, right? Once you have done that, you have then obviously got everything you need to send a SMS to the customer. Now, following on as our webhook in here, if we come in, we can see that's going to be going to the number. Obviously, because for our previous book appointment one, it didn't collect the number for whatever reason. But that's going to be going to that number. That's going to be to the to number. And then our from number is going to be the one that you have within your Twilio account. So I'm just going to obviously go and get that at the moment. But again, that from number is going to be the number that you have obviously in Twilio. So if we... I'm just going to be getting that number that I already have, which is going to be this one. So then we can just create a static message. You can use expressions if you want. So for example, you can say, hey name, right? If we have the name, hey name, this is a confirmation message to let you know that your and then we can put in the type of appointment, so that your general cleaning appointment has been successfully booked. And then we can do the time if you want. You can put in that confirmed time if you want, or what you can do is you can put in the conversational format that we have, which will be that as well, which I just remembered. And I'll put in some prompts so it gets fixed as well. And then we'll just do thanks. So awesome, right? Then we can go ahead and copy this essentially, and we'll just do the exact same thing for canceling and rescheduling, but we'll just change the phrasing of it, obviously. So that'll be all good. That'll send off now. Okay, so now that we have that done, we have one final workflow to do, and essentially this workflow is going to be getting the end of call results of everything, and it's going to be putting it into a database so we can then update the database and do everything from there. So essentially this is going to be very simple. We're just going to be coming out to our global agent, and then in the webhook settings, this is where we want to put in a webhook. Now I'm going to be deleting this because this is the previous one I was using. So we're going to be using the exact same thing. Just come out to your end-to-end workflow, create a new workflow, and then we're going to be adding the exact same thing. So webhook response, and we're just going to be doing post production URL, and then of course the exact same thing, putting it in here. So now that we have that, we're going to need to get some post-call data extraction variables. So these are essentially letting the AI know what to extract from the conversation. What we're going to be doing is after the call's been having in, we're going to be putting it into a all-in-one database right here, which is a very useful feature so we can track everything that we have. So obviously this is what I was testing before, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of this so we can start from scratch, step by step, of course. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is going to be a selector, and it's going to be a booking type, right? And this is essentially defining the type of the booking. So again, you got your cleaning appointment. So again, we're going to be putting this into an interactions database right here. Booking type, sorry, this is going to be the type of booking. So was it a new booking? That's going to be appointment type, sorry. And then again, reschedule booking, and then cancel booking. So again, the AI it's going to use AI to essentially get the transcript and decide these variables for us. The type of booking the customer chose. And then we can also have null, which is like, obviously this is not going to perform if it was a transfer or something else. So we can just put null in here as well. Yeah. Choose null if there was no booking made. Okay, so we're going to have the booking type, and then we're also going to have a Boolean, which is essentially a yes/no statement. Appointment booked, right? And this is just going to be yes/no. So has an appointment been booked or has it not been booked, which essentially means has it been successful, right? Because that's what's driving growth for the business, booked appointments. So yeah, did the user book a appointment? So again, you can really add in anything, but I'm just going to show you how we can add this in as well. And then from there, we are going to add in a appointment type. So again, this is going to be a selector. Right, and then the different choices. So we've got cleaning, and then we can do checkup. And then, whatever type of, appointments they have, implant, whatever. You can keep expanding on this, but again, we'll go ahead and click save, right? And then we're going to need some other variables as well. So this is going to be a text format, which is going to be, so there's going to be a number format, which is going to be text is going to be number. So customer number. Then we'll add in a description. This is the customer's number that was given. Conversation. And then we'll do you must only return their number. Then a format example will just be 0412345678, right? Whatever, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So again, that's an example of a format, right, for the number. And then we'll do the exact same thing for the email. Just do text. In the conversation. Okay, format example, and then we'll just do like John Smith 123 at gmail.com. Okay, awesome. So that's all good right there. And then you can really add in anything else. We're also going to add in a Boolean. Was it a new customer? New customer or not. And then finally, we can do the customer name, which is very important. Customer. So again, this is a lot of stuff that you can add in, but I'm just making it very comprehensive for, obviously, learning's sake. The customer. Awesome, right there. Okay, so we can go ahead and click save now. So the whole purpose of why we're collecting so much data is, number one, we're going to be updating the previous database, and then number two, we're also going to be adding in all of these information points into an interactions database. So it's going to be loading in every single interaction the AI agent has had. So that's going to be everything. We've got our webhook in. Let's go ahead and obviously come out. Make sure to publish it as well. Awesome. Make sure to publish, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna call the agent, right? And we'll just ask a question, for example. Okay.
Hi there. This is Emily from Bright Smiles Dental. How can I help you today?
Hey, I'd just like to I just had a question about the business hours.
Sure thing. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're closed on Sundays and major holidays. So while I've got you, would you like to book an appointment or check our availability?
Yeah, I'd just book a new appointment, thanks.
Thanks for looking to book an appointment. Before we proceed, are you a new or existing customer?
I am a new customer.
Awesome. What type of appointment were you looking to book today? Is it a new booking, rescheduling an existing booking, or canceling a booking?
New booking.
Great. Thanks for letting me know. Can I get your full name to get started with your booking?
Ashton Voss.
Great, Ashton. What type of appointment would you like to book? Like a cleaning, checkup, or is there a specific concern you
Cleaning
want us to
appointment.
look at? Got it, a cleaning appointment. What day and time would work best for you, Ashton?
Do you have any availability next week, Thursday at 2 p.m.?
Awesome, Ashton. And we've got 2 p.m. next Thursday, December 18th, available for your cleaning. What's the best email address to send your confirmation to?
It'll be ashtonvoss47@gmail.com.
Thanks, Ashton. Just to make sure I got that right, let me spell it out. ashtonvoss47@gmail.com. Is that correct? Once
Correct.
you confirm, I'll just need. Excellent. You're all set for Thursday, December 18th at 2 p.m. You'll receive a confirmation text message shortly with your booking.
Awesome. So we can see based on that conversation, everything is all mapped in. Now, it just took a little while, so we can see if we come ahead, let's just come to the latest one. We will come in and we will copy everything to editor. We'll unpin that. And then we can see headers, call, transcript object, not that, underneath the latency. So we can see we have everything here at the moment with all the custom data analysis. So we can do if the customer, right, is equal to false. So for example, this was an existing customer, I believe. So let's say it is equal to true. It's then going to, obviously if it's a new customer, it's then going to add in a new row and it's going to create a new contact that we have. So in order to do that, let's add in our NNN data tables, which is what we're going to do. And we are going to put in a new row. So this is going to be new contact customer information. And then we're going to do the dental, sorry, not the dental database, which is going to be our contact database. Come back to the webhook again. And then we are going to obviously find everything that we have. You can see customer name, which is going to be Ashton Voss, and then our emails, our number. So again, we're just subbing everything. This is if a new appointment has been, or sorry, a new customer has been obviously through the pipeline, right? And then we're going to undo another database row, which is going to be insert another row, right? But this is going to be different. This is going to be another database, which is going to be our AI agent dental database right here. So again, going to be the exact same thing. We just need the latency. You can see now we can add in everything. So we'll add in the call summary and then we will come up again to the transcript, which is going to be in there. And then we're going to be mapping everything else in. So appointment booked, which is going to be yes or no, false. And then appointment type is going to be cleaning, like whatever type of appointment it has been. So this could be null if they are obviously answering questions. But that's going to be if obviously they are a new customer. And then if it returns false, we're going to be doing the same thing, right? So we will just obviously add in a get row, so database. And then it's going to be getting row. So we're going to be searching up that row. And it's going to be from our database table. And then it's going to be dental database. So again, we're going to be, if the customer is existing, we're just going to be searching up that information and then updating that row. So you can see must match, and it's going to be the number. We'll just use the number for now, or we'll just use the email actually. And again, we're just going to find. Awesome. So email, we're just going to be searching via this email, and we'll just do return 1 at the moment. Okay, awesome. So you can see that is my details now in that database. And now what we can do is we can insert, data table, and then we'll do insert row, and then we'll just do in the dental AI agent database, and going to be doing the exact same thing. So the summary, we've got the transcript right there. And then we have the summary, appointment booked, yes or no, false, appointment type, cleaning, right? So now we have everything. Okay, we're searching up that row, all right? And then if you want, you could update it as well. Like we could just add in a, all right, we could do update rows. Right, and you could search it again and then update it, right? But for now, we'll just search up the information, and then we can put in also what would make sense is if we come back to the database table and we put inside the AI agent, and we can put in the contact ID, right? So because obviously it's no contact, we're going to insert a new row, right? Linking to that, right? So obviously because they're not a customer, we can add in a, row right here with their contact ID from the searched thing. So let's just refresh this, and we can have contact ID, and then we can map that in, right? So obviously if they are a customer, right, we can just map in their contact ID in there, and then relatively we can do the same thing with the insert row ID. So now we have everything built out, and we'll just leave this to immediately as well because we don't need a respond to webhook data. So that is literally everything. Give yourself a pat on the back if you've built out this entire agent. We can see if we zoom out, this is a very, very complex agent that will be absolutely very usable for a lot of businesses, a lot of real world case scenarios. So if you build this out, congratulations. This is probably one of the most complex agents that I've ever done on the channel. We've got multiple scheduling pathways, we've got transferring, we've got knowledge base, and on top of that, we're using the conversational Retell, obviously, workflow builder to build out everything in conversational ability. So of course, I'm going to be leaving all of these workflows that we have right here completely for free down below in the description, so you can go ahead and download them, get started as quick as possible. Probably will take, obviously, way shorter than what we've done in this video. So feel free to join my free school community if you want that. It's going to be in the free resource hub section. If you are a business owner and you are watching this and you do want to implement these custom solutions for your business, feel free to book a free discovery call down below in the description. But without further ado, I will see you in the next one.